What's up traders, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taco, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about 3 core concepts that are important for you as a successful trader in order for you to find healthy setups in the market. So these are trend lines, support and resistance, and the use of order blocks. So if you want to learn about these 3, please stick around and watch this video, and please consider subscribing and commenting and also liking this video in order for me to be inspired to keep making more videos for you. So please stick around and watch the rest of the video. Let's get right into it. Okay, so welcome back guys. So the first thing that we need to talk about is a trend line. What is a trend line? So a trend line is simply a line that shows the direction of the market, okay? Like which way the market is going. So a trend line can be something like this, okay? From this point to that. Okay, this just signifies that for some time the market has been going bearish, right? So it's creating lower lows, okay, like this. Creating lower lows, right, and also creating lower lows and lower highs, okay? So lower lows and lower highs like this, okay? So what do we mean by lower lows and lower high? We're just meaning that the previous high was this one, okay? This one. And now the next low is lower than the what? Than the previous one. So that's what we mean by creating lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so this signifies a downtrend. Okay, so then how do we then look at an uptrend? Okay, so an uptrend is something like this, a momentarily uptrend. Let's look at something like this going on here, right? Like an uptrend like this. Okay, so we're having higher highs, right? We're having higher highs like this, higher highs and higher highs, and we're also having higher lows like this, higher lows here, another higher low and another higher low here, right? So this is just essentially what we're talking about, an uptrend or downtrend. Okay, so I hope that is simple enough for you to understand. And then nextly, let's talk about, you've been seeing me drawing trend lines. So let's see how you can actually draw a proper trend line. So I'm using the chart for Bitcoin, if you're interested in which chart I'm looking at right now. So usually how I draw my trend line is like I look at the chart like this, and I look at the highest high that was in the market, right, which is this one, right, and I just follow the path, right, to the next lower low, right, if it's a downtrend, and to the next lower low, right, like that. So I don't have to force a trend line. The market usually just tells you what's going on in the market. And in this market, you can see that this is a 4-hour time frame, and Bitcoin has been what? Plummeting down, right? Like this. So this is essentially what we are talking about when we're talking about trend lines and what they actually look like in the market, okay? So next, let's look at support and resistance. So what do we mean by support and resistance? We mean that the market at some point in time was supported, and by resistance we mean that at some point in time the market was getting resisted, right? So these are just lines, right, that we can draw, but I prefer to call them zones. Okay, so let's look at that in the 1-hour time frame, what it can actually look like. Okay, so let's see an example of areas of support, right? So we're saying that the market is supported and resisted at certain levels. Okay, so let's look at this part of the market here. I think that's where we can actually see what's going on. You can see that the market was resisted over here, right? So this is like your resistant, right? Resistance zone, okay? Your market was resisted here, 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 and also here. And then what happened? The market then broke. So the previous resistance then turns to a support, right? In that, the market then breaks out of this resistance zone and then comes back to retest it and continues going bullish. So that is what we actually mean by support and resistance, right? So these are just zones where the market was resisted, and then after breaking out of that part of the market, it then got support from that same resistance, which turns to a support. I hope that is clear enough. So we can look at examples like let's see where we can actually look for another example of that, like here, right? You can also see that here the market had a little resistance, right? The market resisted here, resisted price here, and price went down, and then it came back and broke that resistance. But what happened to that? That resistance became a support momentarily here, right? Became a support and supported price all the up here, and also here supported price, and then finally it broke, right? So the importance of these support and resistance, they help you, especially if you're a breakout and a retest trader. You need price to what? To break out of your resistance and then find support in that resistance and continue going bullish. Or the opposite is also true. You need price to break out of your support level, turn it into a resistance, price comes back to retest and then continues going bullish. Okay, so then how then can we then say that support, resistance, and trend line and use them to find, perfect entries in the market? So the last thing that we have to talk about, in which I talk about this in my previous video, about the use of order blocks, right? So we want to look for an example where we can actually use order blocks, support and resistance. Okay, so let's look at this market. So we can see that this market was going bearish for quite some time, right? So let's say that all of this hasn't happened and you're looking for an area for you to what? To actually enter the market. So we see that an order block is the last candle before an impulsive move, right? The opposite candle. So we're saying that an order block would look like this here when we have this impulsive move right here that happened here, right? This is what we call an order block. The green candle is the origin of that impulsive move. And what happened? It broke these structures, right? It broke this structure here and it went bearish, right? So what we're waiting for is for price to come back to this area, maybe and also retest this trend line. So maybe you're looking for price to come back here, right? And retest this order block and the trend line and then continue going down, right? That is what it actually looks like when you're trading using support and resistance and order blocks, of which in that case it didn't happen. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to wait for another opportunity for that to happen. Then you can also see that here we had a break of structure, right? And we had an order block here, right? Price came back to retest that order block and price went bearish. So you can actually make money with this. You can actually go short for a scalping trade, like here, go short here, right? Go short here to the previous order block here, and then have a clean 1:2 risk to reward ratio, because this is the 4-hour time frame. So this is actually good price action that you can actually use here. And then let's look for something else that uses both a trend line and support and resistance. So maybe we can actually look at a place like here, right, where we have an uptrend going on right here, right? So what are we looking for? We're looking for price to break this trend line and then price to come back and retest something, right? So you can actually see how we can use this, because we're having price breaking this structure, right? This small structure over here, and we're having price leaving this order block. So we take the head of this order block like this, the body of this order block, right, like this, and wait for price to come back to retest to that order block and also this trend line, and then continue going bearish. So you'd enter your trade around here, going short as well, right? Going short here, put your stop loss above the order block, and your first take profit here, which is 1:2, and your next take profit here, which is a clean 1:3 risk to reward ratio. So this is exactly how I use trend lines and support and resistance in order for me to find, very good setups in the market, as you can see. So please, if you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment section, or if there's something that wasn't clear enough for you, please just leave it in the comment section and I'll definitely get back to you and make another video as you requested. Okay, peace.